Alright guys, so today we're going to kind of take a step away from slope-intercept form and we're going to look at point-slope form. So you guys know this from the previous section. Point-slope form is y minus y sub 1 equals m, which is your slope, x minus x sub 1. And we know that this right here and this right here is the point of the coordinate that is given to us. So if you look at this example, they want us to take the information negative 8, 3 and the slope of 1/4, and they want us to write it into point slope form. So you can see that all we have to do is fill in the things that are basically in a box right here, right? Everything that are boxed up. So I'm going to do x sub 1, which is this guy, and y sub 1, which is this guy. So what I'm going to do is first, I always do the y's first, so it's going to be y minus, well, what's y sub 1, which is 3. So you just substitute in there. What's my slope? Well, slope you know is m, right? That's the slope, which is 1/4. So I just go ahead and put this in here. And then x minus x sub 1. So I'm going to have to substitute that guy in. And then we get something like that. Now we just want to simplify it. And what I mean by that is still leave it in point slope form, but let's simplify this. So plus 8. So that is point slope form. So that's why I always stated before is if you see the value here, the x value is really opposite this. The x value is really negative 8 because of the fact that when we substitute it back in, or substitute actually into the form, it becomes 8, but it's really negative 8. And the same thing here. If you look at this, some people look at this as minus 3 or as negative 3, I should say. Remember, that's going to be opposite as well, so the point would actually be 3. So that's how you do example 1, and that's how you put something into point slope form. All right, so let's take a look at this graph that we have right here. So if you notice, we have the point 1, 2, so point 1, 2, and then we have the point 3, negative 2, right? So I took that by looking at the graph, and I was like, all right, those are the points that I know. And what they want us to do is they want us to use these 2 points, and they want us to write an equation of the line in slope-intercept form, right? So this time around, they don't give us the y-intercept. However, we still need to use the slope. So what I'm going to use here is I'm going to use my knowledge of this formula, which you guys know as point slope form. So to do that, I'm going to figure out what the slope is first. So the slope, you could use the counting box method, but for now, I'm going to go ahead and just basically subtract these two guys. Remember, I can do y sub 2, which is negative 2 minus 2. This is a formula from our previous work, so make sure if you've forgotten that, just look it up. So I'm just using my slope formula. So this is negative 4 over 2, which would be negative 2, which makes total sense, right? Because if you look at that graph, it is a negative slope, so that does make sense that this is a negative. So now all I need to put this into point slope form is I need a point and a slope, but do I have that? Yeah, we do. I can use these 2 bits of information right here. So all I'm going to do now is take my values and I'm going to substitute them in. But again, in this problem, they ask us to basically put this into slope-intercept form. It's in point-slope form. If they just told us to write the equation of a line, we could use this, but however, they want it in slope-intercept form for whatever reason, so all we have to do is solve this out, and basically let's solve it. I should say simplify. We're simplifying this. And you should see that you get y equals negative 2x plus 6. So really what I did is we took the 2 points from the graph, found the slope. You could count the boxes to find the slope if you wanted to, substitute it back into point slope form, and then simplified it for y because they wanted it into that form, which is slope-intercept form. And that's it. All right, so pause this. Remember, this is a video. Pause it, rewind it if you need to. But that's how you go about using 2 points to write an equation. Oop, and it looks like I missed, I don't know why I did plus 4 here. This should be plus 2, silly goose. So you really should have y equals negative 2x plus 4. So make sure you fix that. I don't know why I put plus 4, but it was probably whatever, just had a moment. All right. All right, so in this problem, we're using a linear function f, and they want us to write a function or equation using this information. Now, it doesn't say what form to use. Now, if you notice, I would use slope-intercept form if I had if I had the slope, and if I had the y-intercept. But I don't have the y-intercept, so what I'm going to use is I'm going to use point-slope form. So I know that the form I'm going to use is, let me put this over here, I'm trying to get out of the way a little bit, is the form that we've been talking about in this whole video is that point-slope form, right? So I'm going to use that. But what I need is a point and I need a slope. However, I do know that I have a point, I have this point, and I also have this point. So what I could do is I could use either one of them, right? You might want to use this one and I might want to use this one. It doesn't really matter. But what we all have to do is we all have to find the slope. So I do know that I'm going to do 4 minus -2, just using the slope formula again, right? And then 8 minus 4, that's my slope formula. Add the opposite, flip, flip. This is going to be 6 over 4. Simplifies to 2 goes into 6 3 times and 2 goes into 4 twice. So I have 3 halves, or 1 1/2. I'll just leave it as 3 halves though. And now from here, all I have to do is take that information. I have a slope, I have a point. You could use that point as well if you want it to. It does not matter to me. So y minus -2, right, equals 3 halves x minus 4. So when I simplify, I am all set. Now on this, looks like I'm running out of marker here. That's all we need to do, right? That's all I have to do. So y plus 2 equals 3 halves x minus 4, and then you're all set. You're done. You don't have to put it into slope-intercept form because it doesn't ask you to. It just asks you for the function. However, it does ask you for the function. So what we have to do, and I actually misspoke, all right, so now that we have it in point-slope form, remember in the beginning here, it asked us to write it as a function of f. So that means I have to put it into slope-intercept form. So what we have to do here is we have to simplify this, right? So this would be 3 halves x. That would be -6, right? 3 times 4 is 12. 12 divided by 2 is -6. Good. And then we're going to go ahead and simplify, and you get y equals 3 halves x minus 8. And then once we're done there, all we have to do now is write it into function notation. And sorry, my marker's running out of ink, so I'll have to get a new marker for the next example. But that's how you do it. So it's really like the previous examples where we're taking information, they're giving us points, we're using point-slope form, solving it into slope-intercept form. Once it's in slope-intercept form, all we have to do is tag on, make sure that we write it in the formal notation or the function notation, which is f of x. All right, go about one more example, and then we'll be done. Actually, we don't have any more examples. We're all set. I'll see you guys in class.